stuck for a while just because I don't have the tools that I need to get this done. I need a
To absolutely nobody.
Life isn't great as it seems. You're living my wildest dreams. You're counting my money in green. I got money in
So it's a new day, and time to get this wiring done. I got to switch up those injector clips and things like that. The small little details that's been changed on my engine from the original stock setup. As you can tell, the last time I really messed with the engine harness was back when my car was completely stock, just bolt-ons. And back then my harness was 100% just slap it on and go. I kind of thought, oh well, forgot about all the upgrades I've done over the years and stuff like that. So yeah, it's time to make a few little minor changes and get this thing fully wired up. All that it really is just a matter of switching a bunch of clips around and stuff like that. De-pinning, re-pinning, annoying stuff. Time to get to work. All right, let me give you guys a real quick rundown on how to install the race water pump kit for the electric water pump. First of all, obviously you have the big block here, which goes onto the block. Take off the original water pump, get it down nice and smooth. And this one has an O-ring gasket behind it, so you don't have to use Honda Bond or anything like that with it. And then, obviously, this is gonna get bolted onto the front. Super explanatory right there. You have a breather port that goes into that one hole here. Then you just have those 4 remaining holes, well 5 remaining holes. So from there, looking at the bolts that you get, 2 of these will go here, top and the bottom. Then you're going to use the 2 longer bolts. You notice those are a little bit longer than those. Those 2 bolts go into this bracket. This bracket mounts on the front of that plate, like this. So that's why you need those longer bolts for that. The remaining 2 shorter bolts are going to go into this lower bracket. This lower bracket bolts onto the block down here, into these holes. Besides that, you have these 3 smaller bolts, which go on the back side of that bracket to hold this piece on. I already had some, so I used the original ones, but that's where those go. These spacers, you have 2 of these smaller spacers. They're going to go on your lower bolts for the alternator, the lower bolts, and then the larger spacer will go for the long bolt that goes up top. You have the single long bolt that goes up top, that's standard. You have 2 sets of the lower bolts for the alternator because not all alternators are the same. So you find the ones that fit properly with your engine setup and use these spacers, and then that's how you install the kit. It's super simple. Well, unfortunately, I'm at a stopping point now. I'm kind of stuck for a while just because I don't have the tools that I need to get this done. I need a weather pack crimping tool so I can change out the terminals for my ejectors. And yeah, so I'm not really moving forward until I get that. So I need to order one, should get here in a couple days. Then I can get back to doing this. But here's a look at how things are right now. And another thing I forgot to mention, I have a situation with the pulley that goes onto the alternator here. This is like one of those remanufactured alternators from like AutoZone and stuff like that. And anyway, the nut that they use to hold their pulley on, it's very shallow. So when I put the K20 pulley on here, I can't tighten that nut down on the top of it. So I need another nut for that in order to tighten that down properly. Then that'll be in place. But I went ahead and put this up here just so you guys can see how it actually mounts up. You know, with the long spacer, long bolt up top, and setup down below. Spacer there, And I had to use the shorter bolts for mine. That's what lines up perfectly with mine. So I will be putting Loctite on these bolts. This is just a mock-up just to show you guys. And once I get the other tool in, I'll start getting back to work on this thing and get it all finished up. I mean, there's really not much to it. It's just I'm trying to make sure that I do everything correctly. So I'm taking my time with it and getting everything nice and perfect, you know? That way I don't have to worry about things going wrong. Got the engine harness tucked away on the sides like that so it stays away from the header. There's plenty of space here. It's actually more space than my other harness had. So that works well. Got this routed in here. Then I'll put my coil pack cover back on the top of that. That'll cover that up nicely. Everything else here will wrap around the engine much tighter once everything's all plugged into place. And the intake manifold's gonna cover up all this big space, so you really won't see much of it except for like right here on the side. So, until I get the new parts in, that's where I'm at. You know how it is when you're building a car, it's mostly a waiting game. See you guys in the next one.